going on, everybody? Happy Monday to you all.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one.
Thanks. Yeah. Just trying out some different versions of me. Great episode today. Loved our callers, the variety.
Such good topics today.
I enjoyed my answers even, but no, I'm just kidding. They're better. Yeah, it was great. Great variety of topics. We'll just get right into it. Just a couple reminder. I don't know if you've heard, there's this amazing tell-all in an audio format.
Really?
Me talking to a bunch of my exes from season 21 of The Bachelor. People are absolutely loving it. So
good to hear about it.
it's on my Patreon. Yes, it's not free. It's ad-free, but it's like the price of a delicious cup of coffee. I guarantee you've wasted money on other things. And
I paid more for my latte today, I'm sure.
you can cancel at any time. You're not going to want to. It's amazing. You won't regret it, I promise you. So check it out. The link's on my Instagram or on my Patreon. Search Nick or go on my Twitter. You'll find it if you're looking for it. Check it out. Raven, Corinne, Angela, Alexis Waters out now. Taylor's coming out. It might be out by now by the time you're listening to this. And if you stick around next month, Vanessa Grimaldi, Rachel, Jasmine, Danielle Maltby, and a mystery one. It's going to be awesome. It's all the things you've ever wondered and some great conversations. So check us out. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Send your questions at asknick@castme.com. Cast with a K. Always need your questions. You're the heartblood of our episode. And as you guys know, I love this Ask Nick episode that we have on Mondays, and I love that you guys are listening, so I just want to say thank you. And if you love it, we would love you to, give us 5 stars on iTunes. I'm just going to pander for your compliments. Other than that, make sure to check us out on Wednesday with Pastor Miles. Pastor Miles, I was watching TV, I saw him give some interviews. He's our guest on Wednesday. Great guy with a great story, a man of God who has some very interesting perspectives on things going on in our country right now. Son of a police officer, father of a police officer, is a black man who
Started a church
and
was in the NFL.
And got in some trouble early on in life, found an interesting path to where he is now as a pastor. Has a great new book out and just talks about kind of how we can try to come together as a community and bridging gaps. And I like bridging gaps. And I was really moved by some of the things that he shared, and I invited him on, and he was kind enough to join. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So check us out on Wednesday. And if we have a Bachelor episode tomorrow, check that out too. Other than that, let's get to these callers.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Oh, it's good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Tony. I am almost 32, and I live in Brooklyn.
Happy birthday. How can I help, Tony?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I feel like a bunch of other people have been semi-dating during Corona. I started dating this guy, met him on Bumble, like the middle of January. It started out pretty slow. I feel like I was the one kind of initiating it more, which was a little shocking because not to sound like an a-hole, but I think I was a little bit out of his league. So that was shocking, but we kept it going. And then finally when Corona hit and we had to lock down, I saw him one last time and I was just like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm going to let it slowly fade out. I stopped texting him and he started increasing the text messages, and we quarantined for like a solid month, didn't see each other. And then finally we both felt safe enough to hang out. We started hanging out every 2 weeks, and then it turned into every week. And now we're up to 2 to 3 times a week. And it's always a sleepover. He always comes to see me. I live in Brooklyn. He lives in Manhattan, which is kind because I'm terrified to take the subway. But we just haven't had the talk yet. And I blatantly asked him, I said, have you been with anyone since quarantine? And he said, no, I haven't even made out with anyone since our first date. So it's just a little nebulous relationship. And I'm just wondering, from a man's perspective, like what the deal is. He's bought me flowers. He buys me dinner. He compliments me.
How old
we
is
talked
he?
about taking a trip together. He will be, 31 in October.
Okay. What's his dating history?
He dated a girl long distance for almost a year. I creeped on her, so I have a little bit of background information.
Okay, well.
As girls do.
Yeah.
And this is the guy who you felt compelled to throw in there that you're a little bit out of his league?
Yeah. I was lonely. I had gone like a full year without dating anybody. He was the first guy I went on a date with when I moved back to New York.
But what's interesting when I listen to you talk, it sounds like you really are maintaining that you're out of his league. Like you want people to know, or you want yourself to know, or why are you insisting on this storyline?
It's an ego thing for me personally. It's like, why? It's like we're in the middle of quarantine. I know he's not seeing anyone else. Like, why not?
So you're saying like you're out of his league, so he should be like locking you down.
I'm just curious what you mean by you think he's. Are you basing this off looks? What are you basing this on?
It's a personality thing too. We're very different. Like our similarities are different. We really don't have that much in common.
Okay.
It's not so much. Yeah, it's not so much a looks thing. I mean, I swiped on him for a reason. I definitely find him cute. I think he needs a haircut, but I know it's part time.
You know who she reminds me of talking to her? Morgan Stewart.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Thank you.
But when you say I'm kind of out of his league, what do you think about as to why?
He's a little sloppy. Like it's just like I hate saying it. He's just a little bit sloppy and rough around the edges, and I don't think he realizes the potential that he has.
As a human being?
Kind of more what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, in the looks department, like he needs a haircut. He really does, and I think he's just kind of afraid because we're in the pandemic. I know is shallow.
I'm a big believer in there, like this league that you refer to is non-existent, and it's just perspective, you know. Status. I mean, what is status anymore? And you're like, you know, what's he do for a living? Do you care? I mean, I don't know. Like you strike me as someone who does care a little bit about some of the maybe superficial.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. He has his own business. He just started it early when we were dating. So I kind of attributed to that to being why he wasn't so excited and gung-ho about dating, because he was literally just starting his business.
Do you like him? You want to be in a relationship with him?
I don't know so much as a relationship, but I would love for him to care.
You want
to care to ask when
you want him to find the relationship that you're not even sure you want to be in?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, thanks for being honest, but that's the thing. It's just like, figure out what you want first before you have expectations about him saying what he wants, because you're running. Yeah,
I just want a male's perspective on like all of these things. Just we were talking about taking a trip together. He's taken care of me when I've been sick. He always compliments me.
All nice things, right? It's great.
Like a nice guy.
Great to have that. I'm just not sure whether you like him or your ego is telling, you know, there's something about him that you feel that he's out of your league and he's holding out just enough to like fuck with your ego and have you say, hey girl, he doesn't make you feel like a queen and you're a queen and you need to feel like you're in total control. So what the fuck? And you're just like, yeah, you're right. So like, I want him to define the relationship, but like, honestly, I don't know if I want to marry him. I mean, you're just kind of playing games with yourself. I honestly, after talking to you, don't know, there's a part of me that thinks you really like him. And there's a part of me that thinks you really don't. I don't know.
I mean, I'm super torn. It started out as just casual fun. I'll date him while I date around. And then this whole thing happened and he just kind of started to grow on me. That's never thought, I mean, we're like 7 months in.
That's great. And that's great that you want expectations, but be vulnerable a little bit. Like you seem to not be interested in being vulnerable. Like you're trying, like, I want to define the relationship, but like, if you don't like me, then fuck him. Like, I'm not going to be sad about him. Cause like, I mean, let's be honest, I'm out of his league. Like, fuck, it's just, it sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fun. I mean, we're in hard times.
Yeah, listen,
I mean, I'm getting older. To date.
Just say to yourself that you like him, and you'll be a little hurt if he doesn't like you back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know there was a point in time when he was still swiping on the apps we were hanging out, and
okay.
I would see his phone and I would see notifications come down. And one day I very slyly let him see mine, and I let him see that mine had built up. And then after that, I mean, he deleted his.
I was in a situation.
Just a confusion.
I was in a situation where I was talking to someone, and I really liked this person. I felt like they really liked me, but we didn't have a lot of face-to-face time, in person,
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, "You're cool, and I really like you." And I am at the point in my life where I probably take things too slow, and I could probably speed things up a little bit. But how they went about it really bothered me, in terms of it was a kind of a passive aggressive approach to like trying to get me to want to define the relationship because they didn't want to ask me to define the relationship. And I was just like, well, wait, you're the one who wants, I'm fine with this pace. And I'm fine that that you're not fine, but like, just fucking ask. It turned into like them doing things that bothered me. And then I was like, well, why are you doing this? And you get what I'm saying? There was a little game playing. And ultimately, I think it just found out that maybe we weren't as compatible as we might have hoped to be. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying is, you've been dating long enough that you're not like crazy to want to get some clarity to define the relationship.
Yeah.
What would you be satisfied with? Him saying, hey, I don't know if I want to put a label on it, but like, it's nice to know you haven't hooked up with anyone else, but I'd kind of like to know that I can just not have to ask anymore. That like, we're going to be monogamous. I don't know if you don't have to call me your girlfriend. I just want to know that like, we're not swiping. We're not on the apps. We're not hooking up with other people, just ask for clarity.
Yeah. Just how long is too long? I mean, 7, I don't
might
date
not,
a lot. I've had one.
Yeah. And are you okay with him not doing it first? Does he have to come to you and say, baby, I want you to be my girl? And I don't know, like,
Such a great way
I'm in love with you, and I can't live without you. I guess that would be nice. And I'm sure every girl wants that. I get it. But maybe
not exactly.
We live in a time where like, guys like to drag their feet. We like to, I mean, listen, if you're not going to make us define anything, then we're not going to. I think you just want some clarity. I think you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. You might not be used to that. If you want me to get a haircut, tell me to get a fucking haircut.
I really do.
Just be like, listen, I want to be your girlfriend so I can nag at you and get you to get haircuts a little bit. I don't know if you guys have that type of relationship where you can tease each other, but like...
But also, like, aren't hair salons closed?
I don't know. Cut his hair. I don't know. I just I started cutting my own hair, and it seemed to work out. But, yeah, you got yourself in a classic situation where you felt like at first you were like, I don't know if I like him, but he seems nice. And then, but you kind of felt like this out of his league, that maybe you weren't blown away by him early on. So what? And now he's just like, he seems gotten really comfortable and really secure with your situation. And you're feeling like inside being like, why am I worried about our status more than you? And now that bothers you.
Yeah, it does. It really does. It's like, if you're not dating anyone and you really do like me, it's like, why not even just bring it up, gauge the subject?
Why don't you?
I mean, I've flat out asked him if he's seen anyone. I've like joked around with him, but I never want to. That's not asking. Nag.
Okay, ask him if he's seen anyone else and saying, "Hey, we've been hanging out for 7 weeks.
7 months.
7 months. I'd like, Can we define this thing? People always I love how people are just how do you ask how to define the relationship?
Just ask.
Just say that. I wanted to.
No one likes rejection.
What?
Just no one likes rejection. It's hard. It's we're having fun. I don't want to ruin it.
I get that. Brain games are the absolute best, especially when you can play them offline. Best Fiends is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Playing it nonstop. I'm not as good as I want to be. Chrissy is obsessed with this game.
I am.
So much that I think
I'm not even ashamed.
You might even be ahead of me by now. But listen, it's productive and it's entertaining. Great brain games to keep that mental stimulation going. Yeah. But also if you're into key characters and a variety, they're coming out with new characters. Just new stuff every month. They have 100 million people have downloaded it.
That's insane.
And clearly they're doing something right.
They're doing something right. It's really fun. I really love it. I really, 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 really.
No, she talks about it all the time. All the time.
I do play it. I get it. I do play.
She'll text me, be like, "Hey, you guys play? You want to play Best Fiends?" And I'm
you're sitting there watching TV for too long, your brain gets numb. So this is something fun to do, and it's entertaining, and it stimulates your brain because you got to figure out all the little patterns and stuff like that, the little mazes.
Updates monthly with new levels and events, so it never gets old. Best Fiends treats the game like a service for their players. You can play offline. You can play with and against your friends.
Yeah.
Literally, it's amazing. It's hours of fun right at your fingertips. And as we said, you can play offline. With over 100 million downloads and a ton of 5-star rating reviews, Best Fiends is a must play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends. Listen, your dog should be your best friend. And when you have a best friend, you know all about your best friend. That's what a best friend is. Well, if you want them to be your best friend, then you need to take the time to get to know your dog better. Embark is helping dog owners do that. Embark can identify over 350 breed, types, and varieties and screen over 175 genetic health conditions to help your vet provide the best medical care for your dog. Over 50% of dogs are either at risk or a carrier of a genetic disease, whether they are purebred or mixed, and Embark can give you a leg up on when it comes to knowing their history. Also a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
Talk about your dog.
Our engineer just is going to be doing it on their dog.
Amazing. If you adopted a dog or rescued a dog, great, but you may not know how old they are. You may not know their history. Someone might tell you their history, but
you may look weird on the street if somebody walking by you asks you about your dog and you don't know.
It's also just fun to learn a little bit about them.
That would be.
Well, this summer, Embark has a limited time offer just for our listeners. Go to embarkvet.com now and use promo code VIAL to get $50 off your dog, breed, and health kit. So visit embarkvet.com and use promo code VIALL to get $50 off today. Embarkvet.com and use promo code VIALL. Could you marry this guy?
Yeah.
I didn't say,
I don't know. My friends always tell me.
Could you? Do you see potential there?
I mean, I definitely see potential for something. It's a slow burn. And my friends always tell me, they're don't judge a book by its cover. Give it time. And he's the first guy that I've given him time.
There's something inside you that's telling you, hey, what we're doing is played out. We need some expectations. Relationships change when you introduce an expectation. It really does. It's easier to hang out with someone casually, even if it's 1 or 2 times a week, have sex. And even early on, you don't really talk about whether you're hooking up with other people, and you accept that maybe they are. But again, there's just no expectations. But once expectations are inserted into a relationship, it can drastically change things. People can all of a sudden, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, and they might act differently. So you at some point you need to insert expectations into this relationship to see if he really is a guy, and that you could. Yeah. And the only way to do that is to put yourself out there. I think we can agree. I think we've come to an agreement that what you've done up until this point has run its course. And so you can either, out of fear of boredom and for fear of rejection, just keep going along with what you're doing, but not really get anywhere. Because if you don't do anything, there's a good chance for the next 4 or 5 months, you'll have no real progress in the relationship. You'll get no real answers. You'll have no more clarity than you do today on whether he could be your guy, because there's no expectations. And expectations in any relationship are a big deal. People change how they communicate when they have expectations of one another. You know, when the feeling like, I don't know if I can do that because that might upset someone, when that's a thought, it changes how you go about things. And that's a big deal. You should, in happy relationships, you want to give that up for someone you love and care about. And relationships you don't, you're like, I don't know if I want to give that up. But right now there's no expectations. My advice to you though, when you do it, if you do put it out there, don't be passive aggressive. Don't do things to get him to want to say it, because at the end of the day, you're, you know, he's still not doing it on his own. You're just trying to make yourself feel better because you don't want to bring it up. So just fucking be direct. I mean, you know, I think he'll appreciate you saying like, hey, I don't know. It's kind of run its course. I want to I'd like to know.
Yeah. Should I hold out and wait and see if he gets me a birthday gift? I'm kidding.
Oh my God. When's your birthday?
It's September 2nd. It's like legit a month out. Yeah. But he put it on his calendar. Like he showed me his calendar. Like my birthday is in his phone.
Listen, just you want some movement in this relationship, so make some moves. You know, and you know, if you're a empowered woman who believes in progress, then this whole idea of, well, I want him to do it, like, fuck that. You know, you're an equal part in this relationship. And so this is what you want. So put it out there and see what he says.
Yeah. No, I will. You're right. It's just been too long. And I'm not like a sharer. I don't really talk to my friends about these things. So I appreciate you taking the time.
All right. Well, best of luck. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Stay safe, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye. How's it going?
Great. This is Kelly. I am 29.
Hi, Kelly, 29.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
How can I help?
Yes. So I have a question about revenge.
Okay.
So just to preface, I grew up in the South. I had a pretty conservative, patriotic, Christian upbringing. And even when I moved to New York for college and then for my first job, I kind of carried that with me. And in that time, at the start of my career, I started dating a cop, and we were together for 3 years. And in that time, I tolerated a lot from him and his family. And I didn't realize I had tolerated a lot until recently, actually. Okay. We broke up last year. He broke up with me because at the time it was like our life plans didn't align, which was like fine. And it was manageable. And I wouldn't say it was amicable, but like we, you know, our families had been pretty symbiotic. So, we were talking on and off up until, the recent, iteration or emergence of Black Lives Matter. So like in quarantine, I was getting educated and about racial inequality and about police brutality. And that's kind of when I realized that I had tolerated a heck of a lot from him and his family. And they had used they had called me racist names. They would commit like microaggressors. They would, you know, defend a police officer's right to brutality, stuff like that. And once that started emerging, once I started really learning, I felt like all the situations that I hadn't confronted in that relationship were reemerging, and I felt like I was having to go through a breakup all over again. And I've cut contact with them and stuff like that, but I've learned that they're still posting these types of things. Their thinking hasn't really changed. But now that I am an ally, now that I am an advocate, now that I am using my voice more and more to speak out about the racism I endured from them, but also in my life, I want revenge. I want to call them out on their shit, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know a productive way to do that. I don't know if it's worth doing that. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, it's good that you can recognize your motives, and your motive is revenge. Like, you don't seem, a lot of people when they do things will convince themselves it's something else, you know, righteousness and doing the right thing and being an ally is a great thing, right?
Right.
but you recognize that from your personal motives, you feel probably a lot of anger or hurt, maybe even that anger and hurt, or it almost sounds like you feel anger and hurt towards yourself because you seem to, if I'm hearing you right, become aware of what they were. It's like, it's almost as if you're at a party and people are laughing and you leave the party and realize they were laughing at you and not with you,
Yeah.
and you're kind of like, and you're mad, because you didn't realize and you feel like the butt of the joke. Is that the feeling you're describing?
Totally. And I mean, I also like, there's that level of guilt where like, I felt like I knew what they were saying was wrong. I didn't say anything.
Sure.
And now I want to say something, but sometimes it feels like I'm too late to the party.
I can almost assure you that if you proceed with a mindset of revenge, you're not going to get the satisfaction you desire. Now, this experience that you felt, I'm also confident that you can do something positive with it,
Okay.
and that positive thing is, again, becoming more of an ally. It's always how you go, you learn from the past so you can be better in the future, right? And sometimes we have to learn tough lessons from people we don't want to learn them from so that we can be better in the future. But you're at this crossroad. We all have a certain amount of energy to give to the world, to ourselves. So your energy isn't infinite. So you can use this energy towards this idea of revenge and try to call them out and get people to be like, yeah, you were wrong. And see these people, they're racist or they're bigots and et cetera, but as I'm sure you've noticed in the world, listen, some people are going to want to believe what they want to believe, and there's going to be people willing to defend them, and I think this idea of being an ally and educating not only yourself and other people around you is going to be more productive if you do it in a way that comes from your heart, that's not based off of revenge. You may never, listen, you're probably not going to change their mind, but you get people to go along, you get people to open up a lot more with love and compassion, even when they're not giving you that energy back,
Right.
And it's hard. It can be hard, but if your goal really is to be helpful not only to yourself and to your community and to other people, I think your energy can be best served rather than getting revenge on people who hurt your feelings and made you feel inadequate or laughed at or whatever. And I like, that sucks that you experienced that. And I'm sorry you had to feel that, but I think it's a dangerous road to go down to if your only goal is to get back at them.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. But I think what bothers me is that, like, I think a lot of people, including you, and are trying their best to be good allies, and bring awareness to these issues, but they just continue to post the same things. They get to have the same ideas. It almost feels like they're getting away with like hurting me the way that they did.
I get that you feel that way. But that's what they believe, whether you think it's right or wrong, or whether I think it's right or wrong. We have a divisive time. There's also I guess there's a freedom of speech, whether I like what people say, whether I agree with it. I do like that we live in a country that allows people to express their views. I don't think, hate and there's obviously a limit to stuff like that, but I just think your energy can be more productive, not only for yourself, but for what you're actually trying to accomplish than focusing on them. I'm certain of that. And maybe someday, not in the near future, someday you might post something or say something and they follow you and you might change one of their minds, But I think you have to look for the small victories. I think you have to just try to have a more positive approach, which I know can be hard, but I just feel like you're going to get more angry and more mad and less productive if you focus on specifically this family and your ex and getting revenge. It just might create, you talked about, well, I felt like I had to go through a breakup all over again. Well, if you focus on revenge, that feeling you felt, you're going to risk extending that feeling. It can consume you. I mean, literally you could be a year from now still feeling anger towards this family. Do you want to feel that? Or do you want to give yourself permission to move on, reflect back in the past year and think about great conversations you've had with people who had more of an open mind and an open heart, people who, are willing to recognize that, listen, I love my upbringing and I have some competitive point of views and I am okay with that, but I also recognize that I might be ignorant in some things and I'm just open to learning more and I'm curious if you want to sit down and have a conversation. Your time might be best served having a conversation with that person. Again, closure does come from within.
All right.
But use that energy in a way that you think can be productive. That's the best I can say. I know it doesn't take away anything they did or how you feel. But I think it's good that you recognize that it's revenge.
Yeah. And I guess there's no productive way to really get revenge if it is coming from a place of hate or anger.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, they feel like they're getting away with it. I mean, the topics you're talking about, there's plenty of people who are going to agree with them.
Yeah.
I know it can be frustrating, but
it is.
Try to focus on the things that you can do to help create some change.
Okay. Right.
All right.
So would making donations in their honor count? Is that channeling?
Well, yeah, I think that's probably unproductive.
Okay.
I think for your own mental well-being and your energy, you got to try to let this go. And things that you do because you've learned, you're channeling it in the thing, spite or revenge, it brings you down. You're going to bring yourself down with them.
Right.
It just doesn't usually feel good. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, there might be people who disagree with me, but I just, usually, I guess what I'm saying in those situations, so much, whether again, this topic or being cheated on, whatever, when we think of revenge, we have this idea, we're going to do this thing and it's going to affect these people a certain way and I'm going to feel good. And the truth is it's not going to affect, most of the time it doesn't affect them the way you hope. And then you're going to experience more disappointment because you didn't get the reaction that you wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just best to let it go now.
Yeah. Again, don't forget, learn from it, use these experiences, don't ignore it, but channel that energy in a way that you think could be more productive for yourself and for your community.
Okay.
All right. And I'm sorry they hurt you and I'm sorry you had to go through that. But we can try to use these experiences to better ourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds great.
All right. Best of luck. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. How's it going?
Hi, Nick. My name is Christina and I'm 29 years old.
Hi, Christina. How can I help?
So my boyfriend and I have been together for 5 years and we live together. We have cars and dogs and shared bank accounts. So even though we're not married, we live a married lifestyle. And everything has been really great for us in these 5 years. We have a really great relationship. There's great trust and communication, everything. But recently, in the past month or so, we've come to the realization that we have a bit of a fundamental difference in the way that we see our future, namely that I want children and he does not.
Okay.
And, it's not like this conversation has never come up before, but there was always this understanding that I wasn't sure if I did. I went back and forth. And even though he always leaned towards that he probably didn't, he always hoped that by the time if and when I decided that I was ready, he would be ready as well.
Okay.
And he just turned 30 last month, and I just turned 29 like on Friday. So, we're still young. And I think the only reason it's coming up now is because my father is 72, and he is starting to maybe show some signs of memory issues.
Okay.
And so it's making me feel, it's had me come to the conclusion that I do want children.
Okay.
And that I believe that I thought that I was ready to like start soon. And because of that, it's really put us on, we're not sure what to do now.
Yeah.
And then we decided that we're going to see a therapist. We're going to give it about 3 months in therapy to see if he might come around. But I don't have a lot of hope that in 3 months he's going to magically decide he wants children.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because that's what comes to my mind. Like, hey, I'm an advocate for therapy. There's really no downside to doing it, but also like, let's have reasonable expectations of what we're trying to get out of therapy. And
Right.
I don't know if someone needs therapy because they don't want to have kids. There's just nothing wrong with not wanting to have kids.
No, and I completely understand that. I think there might be some like trauma in his past, like that makes him think that he has like a negative view on children.
Does he?
And,
I mean, what does he give you reasons why he doesn't want to have kids?
Well, I mean, he has said that it's mostly about money and freedom.
Okay.
But there's just this hope that
yeah. So like, do you have any reason to think there is
a small reason? Yeah. I mean, without going into detail, he has something with his grandfather that might.
Well, I can assure you. My guess is nothing's going to be resolved in 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are right about this underlying issue that is real, the main reason why he doesn't want to have kids, like, my guess is it's not. If he's able to if this therapy session. And again, it sounds like maybe he needs therapy rather than you guys need therapy. If I'm hearing you right, relationship's good.
Yeah.
You guys enjoy being around each other. You love each other. You get along. Yeah. But this very specific but very real issue that is a reality. Two people could be madly in love spending time together, love being around each other. You want to have kids. He doesn't. And that's a big part of people's lives, specifically you. Are you willing to give up having your own children to be with him? That's a real choice, and you have a right to say no, and you can also say yes. Yeah. He has the right to say, I love you, but I don't want kids. And if you do, then you need to go find someone who does. He has the right to say that too.
I mean, I guess I also wanted to ask you, like, because he's only 30, right? So, like, at what age did you know that you definitely wanted kids?
I wanted to have kids my whole life.
You did, yeah. But it's not unreasonable that he could change his mind.
It's more
I just wonder, like, you don't think he will?
I mean, I don't know this guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, right, yeah.
I think you need to take him at his word, right? If you love a guy, then you trust him. Anything's possible. Things can change. Yeah. You have to make decisions based off the fact that he won't. Right? Because what happens in 4 years where would you be able to right now take the risk and hope that it will change? 4 years go by, you're 33, 34 years old, and he doesn't change. And would you resent him? Would you wait a little longer? All of a sudden you're 40. You're still with him. And could you be 45, 50 years old, still like hopefully relatively young in the scheme of your life, and be married to a guy who took that away from, like, always hoping he would change, but he never did. And he has the right to be like, I told you I didn't.
Right.
I would be frustrated at you. Like, you resent me because I was honest with you. It's like, I didn't make you, so my only advice to you is you have to make some tough decisions. And I think you do have to make decisions based off the information you have now, not what you hope will change. If you are willing to get rid of this kind of 3-month silly timeline and say, all right, you're willing to go to therapy, you're willing to explore if there's a reason why, then I'm willing to stick around for a while and give it some real time. That's not 5 years, that's not 3 years, but like, you know, if there's some real continued progress and some sustained like effort and you think there's some growth and a year goes by, that's reasonable, you know, but just hoping things change is not a good plan for you.
Yeah. And he is seeing the therapist one-on-one. We're both going one-on-one, not together. Which and the fact that he is making an effort, it does give me hope. I do think that I need to not expect an answer right away.
I think that's good. But I do want you to have expectations. And I do want you to make some tough decisions based off of the information you have. I'm not saying right now, but you know,
it's just so scary. It's so scary to walk away from something that's been so fulfilling and so good.
Yeah. But how unfulfilled will you feel if you're not able to have children? I'm sorry. I know it's tough.
I know. I feel like I'm just desperate right now. I just want someone to tell me what my future is.
I get it. And it's good that you feel like it's important to admit your desperation, because at least you can be mindful of that.
And I can.
But there's some good, listen, you're going through therapy. He seems open to it. That's a good thing. Let's see where that goes. Give that an opportunity to have some progress. Okay. But have some sort of reasonable timeline and out. 3 months might be a little brisk, but
yeah, I think you're right. Especially, I mean, it did even now, like saying it seems like we're not giving enough time. I mean, for 5 years and everything.
Relationships are about sacrifice to a certain point. Kids are a big deal, but can you be in love with him at 40 without kids, knowing that he was unwilling to make any sacrifice?
Right. Or at 40, did we have kids and then he resents me? So
I think you have a better chance of resenting him than him resenting you. So, I don't know this guy, but he doesn't want to have kids. You have a kid. He might actually like his kid.
you know? Hope so. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So there is that possibility.
Yeah.
But I follow your dreams about wanting to have a kid.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much, Nick.
All right, take care.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
How's it going?
Good. I'm Sarah. I'm 33 years old.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi. Good. Thanks.
How can I help?
Yeah. So I am recently divorced. My divorce. Oh, thanks. Yeah. It does feel good. It was finalized in January, so luckily before COVID hit. And I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. Kind of a long story, but I left my husband when I was pregnant with my 1-year-old. And I have not dated I haven't dated since I left him nearly almost 2 years ago or something. And so recently, like a month or so ago, I decided to get back into it. And my baby had turned 1 and I was like ready to date. And so I joined a few dating apps. I ended up talking to a few guys. One of them I ended up talking to a lot. We texted nearly every day for the different points of the day for a little over 2 weeks, and we ended up having multiple phone conversations, over 3 hours long, late into the night, which is different for me because I'm not usually a long phone talker. But I felt like I really knew this guy and I liked him, and so we agreed to meet up, and we both had talked about what we were doing in terms of social distancing and everything. And we kind of felt comfortable enough, like I felt comfortable enough to sort of break my quarantine bubble and meet him and not social distance, not have a social distance date. I didn't feel like I wanted to or needed to at that point. So we met up, and he had actually talked up his backyard and how amazing his backyard was. And he's a single dad as well. And he had outfitted it for his kids and wanted to show me what he had done. And so we went there. I got there, we talked, ended up making out, and then eventually went into his house and had sex, and everything was good and it was fine. And I was glad everything happened. It seemed like he was glad everything happened too. But then after that, I mean, there wasn't too much communication the next day, but then 2 days afterwards, I met up with him again. I had forgotten my sunglasses at his place, so we met up to get my sunglasses because I was going on vacation soon. And he was just like really weird and like wouldn't touch me at all. He was just talking about his divorce and how complicated his divorce was, and he was really stressed about it, and he didn't have time to go through all the documents that he needed to. And I was just like, and just felt super weird the entire interaction. And we like sort of chastely hugged goodbye, and I left, and I just felt really weird about it. And so I texted him and I was like, I gather you have a lot going on right now. I think I'm going to like leave you alone. And he just sent a few texts back and was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I just really want to be friends right now. I think that's all the bandwidth I have right now, but I really like you and I really like talking to you. And, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll be friends with you and talk whenever you'd like about things. And it's nice to have a friend who knows what going through divorce with small kids is like. And then it's just been radio silence and it just kind of sucks because I felt like I had found someone who I could talk to about certain things, who like really understood what I was going through, and we had a lot in common. And so I've had these moments where I've just been like, well, can I just text him? And
No,
yeah. Yeah.
Is that your question? All right, goodbye.
Basically.
I mean, how honest do you want me to be here, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like you know the answer.
Yeah, I think I do know the answer. It just kind of sucks to put in that much time, like invest in that much time with someone. I lost precious sleep, where I don't get a lot of sleep these days with young kids. And I don't know, he made a big deal about like how he didn't like when people ghosted him and blah, blah, blah. And we should totally talk if it doesn't work out. And then he just does the thing that he said he didn't want me to do.
And that sucks. And that's annoying. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I mean, how much energy are you going to spend trying to hold someone you really don't know all that well accountable for some bullshit he said, you know?
Right.
Like, what's going to make you feel better? You call him up, be like, hey, remember that thing you said about like not wanting people to ghost, and then you did it? And all he can say is, he can try to defend himself, or he can be like, yeah, I know, yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, you guys were dating, the sex happened, and that changed the dynamic. He got what he wanted. Now, I don't mean like he was just trying to have sex with you. I've used my movie analogy before. You know, it was fine. He just didn't feel, you know, and it's not because it's not that he didn't like having sex with you. I don't know what he thought, right? But the reality is that once you guys were intimate, there's a good bet that he wasn't as excited as he might have hoped to be or wanted to be after you guys hooked up. And he was probably then therefore nervous that you might be. And then, he got stressed about the pressure of like, what if she really likes me? And I don't know, like I'm still like, got my ex-wife and the kids, and it's a good bet. That's kind of what his thought process was in his head.
Yeah.
Did he handle it great? No. But all at the same time, like, well, how long were you talking to him?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. You don't know this guy. He's just a guy. You just started dating. You had a lot of connections, things in common, single dad, had kids, those are nice, has nothing to do with your guys' compatibility. It's easy to be misled and mislead yourself about the compatibility because, oh, well, he's got kids and it's like, it's the same and we get each other. And I bet, I don't know. My guess is you have some insecurities about dating, having a 1-year-old kid and a 5-year-old kid, and will all guys be into that? And this guy, well, he didn't make me feel weird about it. And he has kids, so he relates. And that those are important things, but that doesn't mean they're your person. You just started, Did you leave your husband as pregnant to think that you're just gonna find Mr. Right in 2 weeks into dating?
I mean, no, it would have been nice though.
It would have been nice. I get that.
Magic.
I understand it's scary,
So nice.
but like, just try to look at the experience for what it is. You got a little sex, you got some, congratulations,
Yeah.
the ego's a little bruised. He turned you down. Ultimately, it feels like you felt a little misled. He didn't handle it very well. Your ego's speaking up here. And I get it. You have a right to be upset, but this idea, like what you shouldn't do is tell yourself that he was like, oh, well, I just invested a lot of time and I don't get a lot of sleep. Hey, listen, if you want to date, it's going to take some energy, and you're going to have to invest time in people at the risk of things not working out. You might invest 5 months into someone to realize they're not your person. This is 2 weeks. Shit. Congratulations. It only took you 2 weeks to find out a guy that wasn't your guy. That's a win.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
And you still got some sex out of it.
That's true. I mean, I think I'm not used to, I got married pretty young and I'm not used to this. I haven't been dating for a very long time. So I think it's just weird to me that I felt like he even told me we had this incredible connection, like over the phone, before we met each other. It was like,
so what?
And
Like the things we say to each other out of excitement in the first month or two.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not meaningless, but they're meaningless. They're only meaningful if our minds don't change. But like, we don't know. It's like, like going on The Bachelor. It's just like you really feel this shit, but like you're also just like feeling a lot, and you're just like, feelings change too. The things we say early on, like people get so mad about like, well, they said this to me. Great. Were they lying? Well, probably not. They probably thought that in the moment. Some people are a little bit more careful with what they say because they know their feelings change. And some people are like, hey, I don't know. I'm going to say what I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily make them liars. He's going through his shit too.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. It's
definitely shouldn't reach out though.
Okay. I mean, I won't.
That's just boredom. If you're going to be mad at yourself for investing all this energy into a guy that did this, you texting him is wasted energy. It's literally up and before you didn't know, but now it's on you. Now it's just like, now you know that if you text him and get him to respond and the worst case scenario, which you won't realize because it will feel like the best case scenario, is that out of boredom, he responds to you. But make no mistake, if he responds to you, it's because he got lonely and bored, not because he realized he made some mistake.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good advice. I mean,
so just get back out there.
I think I'm definitely bored. Yeah, thanks.
Keep shooting, shooter.
Yeah.
Shooters miss shots sometimes. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think like me not being used to dating or even like having adult interaction right now because of everything going on, and I'm just with my kids all the time.
It's all about your perspective. When you date, go out there with this idea that you too want a variety. You got married young, you don't have a lot of experience with a variety of different men, and you owe that to yourself. And if you happen to fall in love with a guy who falls in love with you along the way that you're just trying to get some variety in your life, then great.
Yeah.
That's a safer way to look at dating in your situation because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment a little bit less. Like, don't like, oh, is he my guy? He's got kids. Great. you might be single for a couple of years and have some fun while you do, you know? To put this pressure that you got to replace your ex-husband within a couple months is just yikes.
Oh, I didn't really want to replace him.
No, I know, but you get what I'm saying? Like this.
Yeah.
The idea that you were going to find your new husband in 2 weeks of dating for the first time is bold
I don't think
expectation.
I didn't go into it being like, oh my God.
No, I know, but when you were like, oh, but it would have been so
but,
nice. You get what I'm saying, though.
Oh, yeah. But it would have been nice not to have to like play the field more and do the dating app thing more.
See, I think you need to change that mentality.
Okay.
I think you should actually look at it as now I get to play the field some more. Your perspective is the only thing you really need to adjust here. You got to stop telling yourself it would have been nice had I just been able to sell. You don't know that. In 2 weeks, you got to find out this guy wasn't your guy. How would you have felt if you found that out a year from now?
No, it'd suck a lot more.
People do it all the time. So then stop saying it would have been nice not to have to do this. I'm glad I figured this out in 2 weeks. I look forward to going out and meeting new people. Those are the things you tell yourselves. I mean, what we tell ourselves when we're alone with our thoughts really affect our mindset and how we approach things. Because we have conversations with ourselves. I don't know, at least I do, more than anyone else, you know? And you are constantly giving yourself advice, and telling yourself it would have been nice if is only going to make it harder for you to find your happy place, so to speak. So change your perspective.
Yep.
That's the only thing you have control over right now.
Yeah, I think I just need to look at dating more as like something fun to do rather than a chore.
Yeah, so we love to be like, oh, I don't want to date. Like, why? You know, when you were married, I bet it got pretty fucking boring having sex with the same guy you didn't like. So
yeah, sometimes it did. Yeah.
Now I started to enjoy the freedom that you asked for. And before you lock in with another guy for the rest of your life, mix it up. Get some sex. Have some fun. Meet new people. Have a bad date. Tell your friends about it. You know? It's interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But tell yourself that you're open to having that those are fun things. If I ever tell you, oh, it's so exhausting, you're just like, okay. You know?
I just feel like as a mom of young kids, I'm like constantly exhausted. So
I don't doubt that.
I
can't relate to that. And I'm in no way suggesting, but at the same time, like, we can stress ourselves out a whole different way. You could have been dating this guy now, and then you're stressed out and because, you're confused. He hasn't defined the relationship. And you spend a bunch of energy worrying about that. Like, we can waste energy doing all sorts of different things in our thoughts.
Right.
So. All right.
Yeah.
You're going to be great.
That's good.
All right.
Thank you.
Go out there with
I feel better.
Different perspective.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Thanks very much, Nick.
Yeah. My pleasure. Bye-bye. Well, hey, listen, I always get the warm and fuzzies with our callers and the variety of the problems that people have. It's always fun.
People really trust you with their intimate.
As they should. I felt like I bet 1,000 today. You did good today. I don't know. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We do appreciate it. Make sure to tune in. Is there a Bachelor episode? Maybe we'll have a Bachelor episode tomorrow. I don't know. But on Wednesday, more importantly, Pastor Miles is with us. He is obviously a man of God with a very interesting background. His journey to become the man he is today didn't start in a typical place, and
started in the NFL.
Ran into some problems in his life. He has a great perspective on some of the things that are going on in our world today, racial inequality. He has a great book out there about trying to find a common ground so that we can move forward. And I thought it was really interesting talking to him, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't discover him, but I saw him giving interviews, and I was really moved by what he said, and I invited him on, and he took the time, and I think you guys will really enjoy that. So be sure to tune in on Wednesday, and if we happen to talk some Bachelor, well, check us out tomorrow. Until then, thanks for listening. Don't forget to send your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K. And if there's nothing else, we'll see you later.